Soulful shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, just some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hear me. Woo! I mean, like, we can pull that clown shit away. This some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Yo, what's going on, people, man? We're back in the building. Good morning to everybody in the building. Big up to yourselves if you're watching this on the replay. As well, we're coming up to 2025. Yo, it's been a crazy year, man. It's been a crazy year. And I'd like to say, before I even start the video, I would like to say, you know, big up to everybody who has obviously locked in this whole year, 2024. Big up to all the subscribers, even the ones who subscribed, unsubscribed, and then subscribed again. Don't worry, I see you, and it's all love. It's all good. You already know the vibes. We banter, I cuss, you guys cuss me, I get mad, you get mad, we argue, we show love. Like, that's just what it is over here. Obviously on GTV, and of course across the other various channels that you see me on, whether it's on ENDZ's show, whether it's on the Sam's show, the Football Terrace, whatever. It doesn't really matter, man. Like, you guys have shown love in some way, shape, or form, and I would just like to say I appreciate that, man. I really, really do appreciate the, you know, the love and respect, to be honest with you guys. Like I said, this ain't, you already know, and you guys know me, this ain't about trying to agree or have everybody who comes over here on GTV or on ENDZ's show or Savages or whatever. I ain't here for all of the, yeah, we all agree and we all think this. No. So that, like, you know, big up the guys who've been here for a long time. People like your honesties, your scraps. You know, we don't have to agree all the time. Yeah, I mean, we and that's just, I just plucked two that off the top of my head, but there's many more of you. We don't have to agree all the time, and to be honest with you, I don't really want to. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather we all have our differences, you know, of opinions and thought processes, but regardless of that, you guys still show love every single time, and I have to, you know, big up to you guys, you know, all the time and all the time. But listen, enough of that mushy stuff. You guys already know why we're here. It's December, or the end of December, should I say. We are heading, of course, into January tomorrow. So it's that time, you know, for the monthly review before the year heads out. So obviously taking a look, you know, at Liverpool, how they've done across this month, how the players have done. So of course I'll give you guys my player ratings. I've already done them, so I'll show you guys towards the end. And I have done my Premier League team of the season so far. So of course I'll show you guys obviously who I've put in there, and there's a couple players obviously that I've missed out, and you guys can of course let me know in the chat as well, whether you're watching this live or not. Let me know who you guys would put in your Premier League team of the season so far. I saw Jamie Carragher's and Gary Neville's. I saw that last night. That was very, very interesting. And I've seen a few floated about as well. There's not been too many like howlers. Like, you know, when you look at something and you think, oh my bloody days, like, how has he picked him? I think I've seen one where they had a player in there. I won't mention them, but they had a player in there, and I sat there and thought, really? Like, ahead of this guy? Yeah, I mean, like, there's a few you can, you know what I mean, you can think, oh yeah, you know what, I can see why you picked him, but not. There was one howler. There was one howler that I remember seeing, you know, today, but it is what it is. As always, guys, please I've just dropped I dropped a video last night over on Keeping It GTV. It's pinned in the chat. Guys, if you're not subscribed over there, please make sure you head on over there and subscribe to my other channel. Dropped a video, so please about the NBA, and a video that LeBron, or a press conference that LeBron was speaking after. So yeah, go check that out. That's just my reaction to that. Big up M-Tom Mizzy, man. Big up my bro, man. Big up my bro. I hope you're doing well. You're one of the real ones as well. Been here for a minute. Remember them times was during the World Cup over on Jerry's stream, when me and Jerry was streaming the World Cup games and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that was good times, man. It was good times. Big up 𝐒𝐃 in the building. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. So let's get into it, man. So obviously first game this month that we've had in December was obviously that 2-0 victory against Manchester City. I can't remember where I got that picture from, But I remember seeing it literally straight after the game, and I remember busting up, thinking to myself, "Yeah, Man City, you lot are finished. You lot are finished." Because even if I can remember correctly, thinking back to the game in itself, I just remember thinking, yeah, even the way that they're playing, like they don't even they don't even look like Manchester City. And obviously, this was obviously we know that they've been getting slapped like all the time recently, right? But this was during a period of time where I still thought, yo, nah, you know what, Manchester City or Manchester City, you know what I mean? Like, and you guys already know, I've been saying it for so long, like, yeah, nah, Man City, you know what, they can do this and you know they can do that and etc. etc. But I'll keep it a buck, like they're not doing anything. Do you know what I mean? And not to say that this game was the killer or this game was the like signified that, it was just more about like looking at it from that at that period of time where they were at that time and just thinking, yeah, nah, in terms of title races, yeah, I don't feel like you guys are gonna be totally able to, you know what I mean, come back. There's still that small part of my brain that tells me, yo, G, be careful, man. You know what I mean? We could be careful about Manchester City, but they're too far away, man. They're way too far away. And yeah, listen, man, it was a good performance. It was obviously off the back of the Real Madrid game that we had in the week, and it was billed to be that week where it would define Liverpool's season. We seem to have that quite a lot. You know, first it was we didn't play anybody, we haven't played anybody like anybody good. Then when we start playing everybody good, there's the excuses of, oh, but all these teams have had players, you know, injured and stuff like that. So, you know, we can't really measure it and, you know, etc. Like Liverpool seemingly had this, you know, the whole season. Even myself at times, like when I've looked at it and I thought, okay, yeah, we might drop points here. I thought we would drop more points in this period than we actually did. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, I don't think I foresaw the Newcastle game. Oh no, I did. In my match preview with ENDZ and Savage, I did say that we would draw that game, but I thought we would drop more points, maybe against City. Maybe City would come back, and this would be the, you know, the renaissance of Manchester City. I know prior to this month, obviously we had Bayer Leverkusen, Real Madrid. I didn't think we was going to pick up points there and stuff like that. So the fact that Liverpool have been able to do so, pick them up, man, pick them up. Our next game obviously was that Newcastle game, the 3-3. Obviously Salah saving the day, as he's basically done for us more or less all season. You know, with goals and assists. In this game, it wasn't any different. Obviously, as we know, Kelleher kind of fluffed his lines in this game. Do you know what I mean? Right at the end, it was because of him that Liverpool only walked away with a point. And yeah, ever since, well, really since then, I think maybe the next game I think he played, but yeah, since after that, yeah, man, I ain't seen Kelleher. Obviously, Alisson's back now as well, so yeah, a bit peak for him. It was, you know, it's so mad. It's such a obviously because Alisson has come back. It's such a sad way for Kelleher to just go out. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like you've been calm, literally. You know, as people have said, they haven't missed Alisson, you know, since Kelleher had been in goal. And then for you to end it like your last couple of games, and this was one of them, yeah, that's kind of peak for you. Do you know what I mean? Like now, you just go back until Alisson's injured again, literally injured, or we've got another cup game coming up or something like that. You just go back into the wilderness, bro. And that's kind of peak, considering, you know what I mean, people were saying, oh, nah, maybe Ali doesn't get his place back. Don't worry. I remember you guys. I remember you lot saying that. You know, yeah, no, Alisson, he ain't going to get his spot back, and he has to fight for it. He has to earn it. And then Kelleher goes and does this in this game. But this was the game that I thought Liverpool, I didn't think deserved to get a draw. I think Liverpool did deserve to lose that game. I did have Newcastle who just edged it. I didn't, not by much, not like it weren't crazy or anything like that. Good morning to you, Zane. Yeah, it wasn't crazy. It wasn't like a madness. I didn't look at it and think, oh my goodness, you know, Newcastle were just excellent and this, that, and the third. I thought Newcastle were good. But yeah, I just felt that Liverpool weren't really at it, in my personal opinion, in the game. And Newcastle, they were, I'll be honest, it felt like they were bullying us. I can't even lie. It genuinely felt like they were bullying us, you know, in the game. But as I said before, Mo Salah, you know, with his 2 goals, and obviously Curtis Jones getting a goal in there as well. So listen, man, it is what it is. But listen, as long as we didn't lose, I was happy with that. You know what I mean? You just take the wins wherever you can. Obviously, then we had Girona in the Champions League. I did feel like this game, again, I didn't feel like Liverpool deserved to win that game. And this was it. We was coming off of like like these two results, and I think there's obviously the Fulham game in there as well that we'll talk about in a sec. But yeah, I didn't like this kind of period, whether this is our blip or this is our version of a blip, whatever. But I just didn't feel in this game that Liverpool deserved to get the victory. Again, we're supposed to have Everton, obviously. That game gets postponed. So we had a bit more of a break until that Girona game. And it felt like Liverpool were just coming off of pre-season whilst Girona were midway through a season. That's literally what it looked like. You know, we were lethargic. You know, we weren't really pressing. The intensity wasn't really there. It just seemed like we were quite lackadaisical. And listen, this was literally one of those games. I think Salah scored a penalty. This is literally one of those games where you're like, yeah, quality will tell. Like, because we have the quality, that's probably why you'll end up winning it. But if Girona had an ounce more bit of quality, they probably should have won the game. I'll be honest, they probably should have won the game. And that would have been a real shock, you know, to the system, because of course nobody had Liverpool losing this game or even really struggling, you know, in a game like this. But that's kind of how it panned itself out. But listen, man, it is what it is. We got the victory, top of the Champions League, of course, undefeated in the Champions League as well, through to the next round. Happy days, man. Happy days, happy days. Then we moved on to the Fulham game. Yeah, as I said, Liverpool obviously getting a red card in that game. Was it Andrew Robertson? I'll give you my rating on him in a moment. Who got the goals? Diogo Jota with a 86-minute equalizer. Cody Gakpo obviously getting the other goal. I think, obviously, going down to 10 men, this one was I think a draw was fair. If I can remember correctly, I think a draw was fair in this game, purely because when Liverpool, obviously Fulham scored before we even went down to 10 men, but just so that we don't forget. But just after we went down to 10 men, there was a 5 to 10 minute, I think it was, maybe 10 at most. There was a 5 to 10 minute period where Fulham, if they just had a bit more composure, just a tad bit more composure, they would have been out of sight, out of mind. And it wouldn't have mattered how Liverpool would have played, because I don't see us being able to get enough. They could have scored 2, potentially even 3 goals in that time. And it's not even that they had bare shots or whatever or anything like that. It was, they were messing up like 2v1s, 4v2s. And, you know, they were messing up a lot of these opportunities to go and kill the game. But you could see that Fulham were just super excited. It's like they were like a kid in a candy store, literally a kid in a candy store, didn't know really what to do with themselves. You know, obviously, when you go down to 10 men, obviously, it's pretty difficult to try and break down, especially a team like Liverpool, who, for one, you know, really, really organized team anyway. And we've seen Liverpool play with 10 men before, even under Klopp, and still been a pretty decent team, right? We went down to 9 men against Spurs, and we still look like the better team, you know, in that game. So Liverpool quite experienced at that anyhow, with a coach and a manager or head coach like Arne Slot, someone who, as we know, very meticulous, all that kind of stuff. The fact that he's been able to implement, obviously, his ideas in this game in particular, we saw obviously chopping and changing, he was trying to, you know, put Gravenberch at centre back. And then at one point it was like Gakpo was like left wing back and all of this kind of stuff. But in the end, he really did a good job in terms of making it so that Liverpool was still tough to break down, but we were still quite threatening on the attack. And that's when I was like, wow, you know what, this Arne Slot guy, you see, this guy is always thinking. That's why you know, I really, really like him as a coach. Like, he's always thinking of the next move. He's always thinking of like the next thing, you know, kind of thing. And that's why I rate him very, very highly, because he seems to be a proactive rather than a reactive manager. And that's what I like. The tactics, the formation, the style, obviously that comes, you know, that comes in hand. You know, if you like it, then it's even better. But I think one of the main major factors that I look at with Arne Slot is the simple fact that you are quite a proactive, you know, manager. So it does make it a tad bit easier, you know, to really buy into what you're trying to do with this Liverpool team. And in this game, he really, really showed his tactical nous, you know, in terms of making sure that Liverpool didn't win. As I said, of course, it could have gone pear-shaped, and that's where the luck that you get in seasons, in games and stuff like that, that's where that comes in. Because if you're unlucky, for example, Fulham go and score 2-3 goals in that time easily, and they're already 1-0 up, so the score's like 3-4, 3-4-0 at that period of time. Let's say before Liverpool score, you know, they're from 𝐒𝐃𝐃. You know, in that period of time, any team, you kill them off, boom, bam, bim, because we was all over the gap. It was in such disarray, so they could have scored. Maybe not 3 or 4. Maybe they scored 2 more. I reckon 2 more goals, 3-0. Looking a bit scary. And then Fulham play the game a bit differently now as well. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Where now it's literally, you could just tell them, no, just sit all game and don't move at all. You know what I mean? We've got 6 at the back. You got no one up front. We'll just defend for the rest of the game. We'll make our 5 subs, make sure everybody's fresh, red tear, all of that kind of, like, it will be one of those. It will be one of those. So, yeah, man. I thought Liverpool were lucky in this game, but listen, we got the draw. Obviously, over to the Carabao Cup. Obviously, we make it through to the next round. Beat quarterfinals against Southampton. Beat them 2-1 away. Yeah, this game was Liverpool. No, Liverpool deserved it. I'm not going to say they didn't. I think because they were coming off the back of the draw to Fulham, you know, drawing with Newcastle, poor performance against Girona. This was one of those squeaky bum time type of games. Do you know what I mean? Harvey Elliott and Darwin Núñez obviously getting the goals. If I look at the lineup that we had that day, obviously we had Endo obviously playing centre back, Gomez left back, Trent right back with Kwanzaa in the back, Morton, Trey, and McAllister in the middle with Elliott, Núñez, and 𝐒𝐃𝐃 playing up front. Yeah. When I'm looking at that, I think the big takeaway from that game that everyone probably remembers is obviously Endo playing at centre back. Hence the reason why I'm seeing a lot of people trying to mention Endo. Oh, maybe he should play, you know, in that position more often. I don't think he should, but he did play well in that game. Seems like if we've got another injury crisis or anything like that, of course, Endo now becomes that option that we can, you know, potentially use in there. But yeah, I felt like this game was one of those, just get through it. Just get through the game, literally. Like, don't even fart ass around, don't even mess around or anything like that. Just get through the game. Let's get through to the next round, and get through to the next round. We did, which we are now going to have a 2-legged tie semi-final against Spurs. So listen, man, we're already on course to potentially pick up the first trophy of the season. It's going to be difficult, though. Like, whether it's Tottenham, whether it's potentially Arsenal in the final. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this 2025 looks like for Liverpool, man. Honestly, speaking of Tottenham, obviously our next game after that was the 6-3 victory against Spurs. Yeah, I thought Liverpool. You know what? This game was exactly like the West Ham game for me. Not as bad. Well, Spurs weren't as bad as West Ham. Let's put it that way. But it reminded me of the same kind of game. You know, in terms of Spurs were bad. Defensively, I felt like, you know, they were kind of all over the gap. Obviously, you know, I looked at their lineup anyway. Pedro Porro, Dragusin, Archie Gray, Spence at the back with Forster in goal. To be fair, from midfield upwards, that's probably their strongest that you can probably pick. You know, Sarr, Basuma, Kulusevski, Maddison, Son, Solanke. So they still had the bad boys in midfield. To be honest, it was the other 5 players there that I looked at, but those 5 players are really, really weak. I was saying this to my boy yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before about Spurs? And I think it's such poor planning when you look at some of the players that they've obviously got there, you know, in reserve, you know, kind of thing. I'm like, eesh. I mean, they had Udogie on the bench, to be fair. But yeah, it's poor planning from Spurs. But listen, in this game in general, yeah, Liverpool just killed them off, man. Like we saw the picture of who was it, Szoboszlai and 𝐒𝐃𝐃. They're both smiling and that. Like, that's the kind of game that it was. You know what I mean? We were honestly just picking them off. And I think when I think about that game, Arne Slot, obviously pet peeve. You know, he's a manager. He's never truly always happy until he sees that perfection. So, you know, we're quite alike in that sense. But you could tell, obviously, he was a little bit annoyed, obviously, with Liverpool conceding 3 goals in this game. And we have conceded quite a lot of goals. And obviously, I'll get through that at the end. But we have conceded quite a lot of goals in recent games, you know, considering what our tally, you know, looked like, you know, prior to that. But yeah, this game, again, it was that, I think this was the game where he mentioned about players deciding not to run for a little bit, you know, because they, you know, we were like 4-5-1 up or whatever it was at the time. which is not, of course, that's not what your manager wants to see. He doesn't care what the scoreline is. With him, it's you continue running. I couldn't give two shits what the scoreline is. 6-7-1. I don't care. You carry on running, or you come off. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, or you ain't playing next game. You know, if I feel like you're not taking this as seriously as I need you to. You know, he's got that kind of killer instinct, man. So, but listen, great victory, 6-3 against Spurs. Would I say that was a statement victory? Not really. I think I saw some people saying it. I didn't really look at that and think that that was the statement, you know, kind of victory. Unfortunately, because it was just one of those. It's difficult. I've said this already. With Liverpool this season, it's very, very difficult. And listen, it's not our fault that everybody else is shit or playing shit or not doing as well. But it's very difficult when it's not as competitive, so to speak. I don't feel like it is. So on any other kind of season, maybe beating Tottenham 6-3 would be like a madness, but it didn't feel like that in the game, and it hasn't really felt like that because Tottenham are not that good this season anyway. So I'm just like, oh, okay, like that was a good victory, but we just move. I don't know if it's Arne Slot, if he's his mentality is just rubbed off on me in that kind of way, more so than, you know, it usually would, in terms of the way I think or the way I see it. But yeah, for someone like Liverpool and, you know, beating Spurs, regardless, obviously it's a fantastic victory. To score 6 goals away from home is, you know, absolutely brilliant. And you expect to obviously, you know, get the victory after that. But conceding 3 goals, I know it's every cloud has a silver lining kind of vibe, but like sometimes you look at those things, and I can understand why the manager would be frustrated. Not with the whole game, because he wasn't, and there's no need to be, but more with the fact that you've conceded 3 goals. You know, yeah, little things to work on, I guess, and improve. Next up, obviously, we add Leicester City. 3-1 victory. In this game, obviously, Mo Salah again, Cody Gakpo, and Curtis Jones getting the goal. Liverpool conceding first in that game. I didn't watch that game. I didn't watch that game, so not too much to really expand on. If I'm being totally honest with you, again, Boxing Day victory, you know, Liverpool on form, on fire, another goal conceded, to be fair. But listen, you know, we move. And then obviously just the game that we had the other day against West Ham, 5-0 winners. Like I said, and I still think the same thing, Liverpool did not come out of neutral in this game whatsoever. I'll be so honest with you. Didn't feel like that. Didn't feel like we tried that much, or we needed to try that much, you know, in the game. Yeah, very good victory. 5-0, 5 goals away from home. Didn't concede a goal. Alisson was probably cold because he had nothing to really do, you know, in the game, bar maybe a couple shots that or header, I think, from Kudus, and I can't remember if there was something else. But yeah, it was one of those. Again, like I said, West Ham being they were so bad, man. Like, I know I've said it like 100 times, but they were so bad. It was mad. So bad. It was so mad. Like, I just thought to myself, wow, it is what it is. So obviously throughout the month of December, Liverpool have won out of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games this month. We have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 8 games, with only 2 draws, obviously coming against Newcastle and Fulham. So undefeated again for another, you know, another month where we're not losing games. Jesus Christ! I mean, Liverpool haven't lost a game since Forest anyway. That was on the 14th of September in all competitions. That is crazy. That's crazy level of form. That is crazy level of form from Liverpool, man. So listen, man, big up to Arne Slot, big up to the team. Like, to be this consistent, I can't say, you know, anything bad to, you know, towards that. I promise you. Big up Zane. You seen Luis Diaz as centre forward because his movement is so good. He creates space for others by dragging man. It's just a weird one, isn't it? It's a weird one. Obviously, if you're not going to sign anybody, if you ain't going to sign anyone, then yes, of course, I would then put him in as the centre forward, because obviously you don't want to see Nunes, Diogo Jota. I don't know. Like, it's funny because Jota's actually scored in a couple games that he's come off the bench, but yeah, just trying to keep him fit is very difficult. So yeah, you probably think for the time being, just keep the team as it is. Salah on the right, Gakpo on the left, with Luis Diaz up front. But we know these players like the Gakpos and the Diazes, the Jotas, and all these guys, they go so in and out of form because they can't remain consistent that you almost have to keep switching it up anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those. I don't feel like anybody. I don't feel like we hear. I don't feel like we have a certified left winger or a certified striker because they can't remain consistent enough to call them that. So we have to keep switching it around. So for now, yes, but I feel like that's not what's going to end the season. I just don't think it would. I really don't think it would. Big up, Ends, man. Good morning to you, my bro. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, don't, you know what I mean? Don't run these kids, you know, to the ground. What's it? The 10:30 in the morning. I know it's freezing outside because I just went into the garden. Hey, ease up on the kids, man. Ease up, man. Ease up on those kids. Zane saying I'm not starting D9 at the moment. Yeah, you know, of course, he ain't touching pitch. He ain't touching the pitch. So obviously there's a couple players who I felt now they fit. There's a couple players who obviously I just want to take a quick look at because I felt like, you know, they've done pretty decent over this month. Obviously, one of them being Mohamed Salah, of course. This has obviously been his December. So what's that? Goal and assist against City, 2 goals and assist against Newcastle, goal against Girona, assist against Fulham, 2 assists, 2 goals against Spurs, goal against Leicester, 2 assists and a goal. He has contributed in every single game that we have played in December. And I don't even feel like he's even been that good. Like I don't feel like he's been amazing or anything like that in terms of performance wise. But you see that GA, big up Gegson, he's literally like he is. You see that that is ridiculous. Apologies if you guys can't see it. You might just need to make the screen a little bit bigger, but you'll see it it's on SofaScore anyway, so you guys can check it out. That's ridiculous. How many goals is that? Let's check it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 goals in December in 8 games. How many assists? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8 goals and 7 assists. So 15 G. Like, come on, man. Like, listen, I kept telling people, don't doubt Mo, you know. Don't doubt Mo, man. We'll talk about him in a sec anyway. Next up is Gakpo. Listen, Gakpo's not really my flavor of player. Not really my type of guy like that. But you cannot deny that he has been in pretty decent form this December. You know, he's been getting a lot more chances, playing a lot more games, you know, in this month. And he's really showing like maybe a bit more consistency more than anything, I think, when I think about Gakpo. Like I say, he's not my type of player, but what he is showing is that level of consistency that I guess we all want to see anyway. Yes, I do think in some games, yes, he does ghost a little bit still, but it's not as much as it was before. You know, whether that's just because he's playing more and it's just a game of percentages kind of thing. Maybe it might just be something like that. But yeah, I feel like I'm seeing quite a bit more from Gakpo. He's obviously got 1, 2, 3 goals this month, 2 assists. Yeah, that's 5 GA in 8 games. That's more than fine. Do you know what I mean? Not everyone can get 15 GA, you know, in this kind of month. Raji, nah, man, you need to explain. Gakpo's matured. Why isn't he your guy? I just think that he is a I just look at him and think he's such an average player. Like, I just think that he doesn't have too many strings to his bow in order for me to really say, yeah, you know what, Gakpo's the guy, or he's the guy I can really rely on, you know, so to speak. I just think he's that type of player. Do you know what I mean? I think he has his one thing that he loves to do, which is cut and shoot and all of that kind of stuff. But he doesn't have much else about his game, I don't feel. Which then means that if that gets nullified, you don't offer us anything. Hence the reason why he will just ghost in those games, because I'm like, he can't offer you anything else. Do you know what I mean? Like, when it works fantastically and it's perfect. It's amazing. He's got an absolute rocket of a shot. But if it doesn't work, I don't feel like he's doing much else. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, he's not doing anything else. Like, that's literally it about him. Whereas, if, say, for example, Luis Diaz, as we've seen, he can play out on the left, take a man on. Might not always work, but he will still keep trying, you know, to do that. He can come inside. Heck, he can play as a false 9, drop deep, pick up the ball, dribble, carry. I feel like Gakpo isn't really doesn't have too many facets to his game, if I'm being totally honest with you. And by the way, this is just more of an overall look, nothing against what he's done this month. This is just an overall look, you know, on someone like Gakpo. So yeah, that's just the way I've seen him. I don't think it's changed, to be honest with you. I think he's doing the same things he's doing before, just more consistent with what he was actually doing before, if I'm being honest. And you're right, yeah, Christian, more consistency in the league. That's what he's bringing now. You know, before he was, you know, Carabao Gakpo. You know what I mean? Because he was only scoring really in that kind of competition, you know, kind of thing. The Gakpo beard as well looks a completely different player. Yeah, I hear he's just getting older, isn't it? You're just getting older. Gakpo was scored in the cups. Now Rob's obviously saying, nah, Gakpo's him. Nah, I don't think he's him at all. I think he's so far from being him that even this is a shock. He can offer GA like Salah, not at his level. Yeah. That's what he's doing more consistently. That's for him. Listen, for someone like Gakpo, that's all he can do. So just keep offering that. If you can offer that, no worries, no problems. We kind of move. Like I said, he's just not a Diaz where they can offer me a bit more to the game. The problem is that Diaz might not always offer you GA, as an example. Obviously, he has this season, but just in a general sense, that was one of the main criticisms of someone like Luis Diaz, is that you're not really offering us too much GA. You're offering us everything else, but just not enough GA. I feel like this season maybe he's got a bit more of a balance. But yeah, Gakpo, yeah, for me, that's why I kind of disagree. I don't think he does. Diaz definitely offers you more. Diaz is someone who, playing out on the left, playing in the middle, he offers you quite a threat, whereas Gakpo is kind of null void in the middle. And out on the left is kind of like, as long as he can do what he can do, great. If he can't, he's honestly just another body. I really don't recognize him half the time. Even a game against West Ham, didn't think he was particularly good in that game either. I hear you. I think it's big up 𝐒𝐃, and I hear you. I think it's harsh. He recycles well, offers much in the press. But when you explain it like that, I hear you. Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with that. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that too tough, to be honest with you. But yeah, I just think Diaz offers more. Honestly, I genuinely think that Diaz just offers me more. But like I said, it's got nothing to do with this December, by the way. I just want people to understand. I'm not criticizing him this month. This month he's been calm, he's been good. You know, doing everything he needs to kind of do. But I'm just talking more in a general sense. If I had to pick, like, if you told me you could only have Gakpo or Diaz, I'd have Diaz. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think Gakpo is good enough at this moment in time. But listen, things can change. He's getting older, but hopefully he's getting better. And then, you know, we kind of can see he definitely improved in the big games, 100%. I don't even agree with that. I don't feel like he's even improved. Like I don't feel like he's doing anything better than what he was doing before. Like I just don't see it. Like I really don't. Like he is literally Rashford. He's literally the same player, and Rashford is quicker. Even Rashford today is quicker than him. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like Rashford is just, yeah, he's just on some real poor batch of form right now and loss of confidence. But I reckon if you put Rashford in this team, I feel like he probably do more than what Gakpo is doing. And I know Rashford can play up front and play on the right. You know what I mean? Like, so he's offering me a tad bit more, you know, kind of thing. But listen, man, it is what it is. Gakpo takes on defenders and doesn't lose the ball much, and his finishing is better than Diaz. Takes on defenders. Not as much as Diaz. He's not willing to try as much as Diaz because I don't think he's good at it. Like I said, his game is literally cutting and shoot. I'll be honest. Pick up the ball on that left-hand side. Hopefully someone can spray the ball over. Usually Trent sprays the ball over to Gakpo. Gakpo, hopefully he's got time and space. If he's got the run on the outside, perfect, because then that means he can literally do the cut in and shoot, because he knows that they're going to go and follow that left back. Whether if it's Robertson, for example, they're going to follow that run. Other than that, if he doesn't cut in and shoot, what he would usually tend to do is just nothing. So he's usually just pass the ball like to Curtis Jones or whatever, you know, kind of thing. Or he goes back, or his shot gets blocked, or his shot goes wide, or his shot goes over the bar, kind of thing. Like that's just more how it is. Or he has to hope that he can spray it out to Salah, and Salah has to do something now. And yeah, like that's just the way it is. Christian, he scored in the big games this season, scored a couple important equalizers that led to wins. He wasn't doing that last season. I'm saying as a bigger critic of I'm saying that as a bigger critic of 𝐒𝐄𝐃 than you. Yeah, like consistency. I think that's what that comes to, consistency about 𝐒𝐿𝐃. Yeah, but Rashford needs the snow bunnies to perform, and his latest snow bunny dropped it for love and fuck's sake, honestly. What's wrong with you? Let me move on to another player who's piqued my interest, and that's obviously Szoboszlai. Most of you will remember we were doing streams about Szoboszlai, you know, earlier on in the season in regards to his form for Liverpool. People wanted him sold. People were like, this guy is dead food. I think he's been calm. I think he's generally been like average to good. You can put them in either column, and obviously I've got them there. But yeah, I think he's been super calm, you know, this month. And he's not, I wouldn't even say gone under the radar or anything like that. I just think he's just been more consistent with his performances. A lot more consistent, you know, in the last couple of weeks. And I think that's kind of a testament to him because of where he was at, you know, midway through the season. Jesus, like midway through the early part of that season anyway. He was just looking like, yo, he needed the ground to just eat him up, boy. Pause, because it was just mad. It was generally just mad when it came to Szoboszlai. Like the way some of you was gunning him down. Like I tried to hold on for time. I was like, nah, man, I keep him in the team. You know what I mean? You know, do this. And then it got to the point where because Jones is now playing better or playing well at that moment in time, it'll be disingenuous to Jones for him not to start just for my agenda of keeping Szoboszlai in the team when Jones is actually playing pretty well or, you know, playing calm. You know, I don't think that's fair. If a player's playing well, then they should play. So if 𝐒𝐿𝐃 plays better than Diaz, then 𝐒𝐿𝐃 should play. Or if Núñez is playing better than any other striker, it's unfair to say that Núñez shouldn't play. Like it would just be unfair on those kind of players, right? So yeah, I felt like it would have been unfair on Jones if Szoboszlai just kept starting games and he's stinking up the place and, you know, at that period of time. But listen, man, so far, like in this last month, should I say, he's been consistent, in my opinion. I feel like he's been a consistent performer. Man. So yeah, man, big up to him. With Dom, it's a weird one when he plays, get him off the pitch. When he doesn't play, we need, yeah, exactly, literally that. It's so weird, like to try and really judge as a Szoboszlai, so to speak, but it is what it is. Obviously this is the 24-25 so far this season. We've got the most wins, most goals. This is obviously taken before yesterday's game, so I don't know if it's possibly changed in terms of, well, no, Chelsea lost, to be fair, so can't have changed that much. But yeah, this is what I saw yesterday, so apologies if this has changed. We've got the most shots on target, we've got the most clean sheets, and we can see the second least in the league with 17. Hold on, who's conceded? Arsenal. I think it's Arsenal, which is such a funny one, right? That Arsenal are ahead of us in that regards. And then obviously this is Arne Slot's 2024. Obviously you can see here, like, he's played 51 games, 41 victories, 9 draws, and that silly defeat to Nottingham Forest, which Arne Slot will not allow us to forget. You know what? If Liverpool don't lose another game in the Premier League this season, it's peak for Nottingham Forest next season, you know, because obviously I know they're not going to get relegated, but it's going to be peak for them. He's going to make sure that you do not lose to Nottingham Forest next season. Otherwise, listen, it will be absolutely peak, man. But that's a really, really good record in 2024 for Arne Slot, for both Feyenoord and for, you know, for Liverpool. Yeah, man, really, really good, really, really good. Rob saying, I think Slot is rotating well. I hope we don't run out of steam towards the end like we usually do. Yeah, I think after January, I want to stop with the rotation though. I think you don't need to keep rotating towards the back end of the season. I think you can have kind of your same players. I think I don't know when the Carabao Cup final, if we get there, but the Carabao Cup final, I'm sure it's in February, right? I'm sure it's in February. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure it's in February. After that, I don't feel like we need to rotate too much. When I say rotate, I mean more in the league / Champions League. The cup ones, yes, obviously you're going to rotate regardless. But in the Champions League and Premier League, now I think we'll be good. Obviously, again, this is provided players are not going to be all injured and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it should be relatively calm. But obviously we'll wait and see. So yeah, this is my ratings for the month. The last column that you can't see because I'm covering it is it's just called hard to rate. So players that I'm like I didn't really know how to judge them because they've either kept coming off the bench in every game, like Diogo Jota was coming off the bench, Endo's coming off the bench, but then they've like Jota scored 2 goals since he's come off the bench. I couldn't really put him in injured, barely played because he technically has played. He was a weird one. Kwanzaa only just put in there just because I think he's only started 1 game. I think it was only 1 or 2 games that he started. Man's playing right back as well. Again, hard to kind of rate. Elliot coming back from injury, he was just coming off the bench. Obviously, couldn't really rate him. So yeah, I put those 4 in that category just for now. Anyway, again, if you want to put them elsewhere, listen, you can. I'm not going to argue that. Obviously, injured, barely played. Obviously, as we know, Bradley, Konaté, 𝐒𝐷𝐾𝐃. I know 𝐒𝐷𝐾𝐃's come back the other day, but I did feel like, yeah, it just obviously just can't really rate him, to be honest. Honestly saying, I feel like if the team is cooking, especially in the Prem, why rotate? I don't mind cups versus Spurs and in the FA Cup even now. And the use, yeah, 100%. Honestly, that's exactly what I mean. Is don't need to. You don't really need to. It's the cup games where you start to rotate, but the league, nah, man, you keep that same team, keep that continuity, and I think it will work. and I think people start to, as you get closer. One thing I saw with Manchester City, obviously, like when they had like the Mahrez, Sterling, and that, at some point in the season, you do get to that point where the same team starts game. I'm not saying you can't sub them, but the same team usually will start the game. And once they start the games, everyone starts to buy into this now. Now, obviously, it might not be every game. It might be 3 games, this front 3 will play, but then the next 1, we change it, and then the 2 after that, you go back to it. Then the next 2 after that, you might change. It might be things like that. But when you get closer to the end of the season, I feel like everyone starts to buy into, I don't even care about the rotation anymore, or I don't care that maybe I didn't start this last game, or I don't care that I'm coming off the bench, kind of thing, because we're so close to the end goal that you just want to win now. You don't really care. It only really matters now at this point, but towards the end, I don't think people usually start caring, because when I'm seeing KDB coming off the bench, but then he's starting the last 10 games of the season, I'm like, yeah, it's because everyone's now bought into this. We're close to the end, man. We can win this. So take it from there. Obviously in the poor category, I put Robbo and Nunes. I don't know if anyone's realistically going to disagree with that. I'll be honest, I can't see why you would disagree. I think Nunes has been poor. Not really showed me anything. Robbo, I think he's been poor. Too many mistakes. You could just see this is a player that is having the season that Hendo and Fabinho were having, in my personal opinion, when we were like, nah, this is long. Like, we need to get these guys out of the team. He's having that season. Luckily, his is obviously 2 years later, so big up to him for that. But yeah, in my opinion, he's having that kind of season where you're like, he will have your odd good games, and in fact, he'll have your odd good periods. He'll actually have those odd good periods, but it's like the majority of it is, bro, if it's not red card, it's we're conceding goals down your side a lot more. Like, it's a bit peak with him, man. It's a bit peak for him, and it's sad, man. It's sad. But listen, hurry up and get that new left back in, and then maybe we can keep it pushing. In the average column, I've got Ali in there. I could have put Keller in there to be fair, but it didn't really make a difference. Ali is such a weird one. I don't think he's done much in any game that he's even come back in. Apart from the Girona game. In that Girona game where he was first game back and Donny was having to, make saves here. That's what I said about, us not really particularly playing that well. Yeah, in that game. But the other games, yes, we've conceded quite a bit of goals, but it's almost like outside of the goals we've conceded, I don't feel like he's had much to do, as weird as that kind of, as weird as that sounds. Honestly saying, even as a Darwin guy, he's been bad, bro. Yeah, it's mad. If you're saying that, that's how I know it's peak. Now I know I'm not even out of pocket. Rob saying Robbo is too trash. He just needs to relax and think. Yeah. No, I agree, Rob. I totally agree with you, man. Gravenberch, I put in average, not because it's not. When I say average, by the way, average is still a calm. Average is like 5, 6 out of 10 if I was doing like a player rating for a game. So it's like, you know, not bad or anything like that. It's just an average performance. I think 𝐓𝐇𝐀𝐃 has actually just been average this month, which, by the way, is definitely not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. It's just one of those, isn't it? Like you go through just periods like that where it's like, yeah, been calm. You know what I mean? You could say sometimes maybe some games under the radar potentially. But yeah, I think it's just been one of those. Diaz, I think the same. I think outside of maybe a couple of good performances, I feel like the others have been kind of average for Luis Diaz. So I think I just had him in there. You could put him in good. I wouldn't be too mad at that, but I had him in there. Jones, the same. I think he's been average again. A bit like, Jones has been exactly, in my opinion, like a 𝐓𝐇𝐃𝐃, where you're nowhere near bad and you're not near poor, and you could potentially throw them in good if you wanted to, but I feel like average kind of, for me, more represents how I've seen your performances over this last month. Gomez as well, same thing. I think he's been average again, had maybe like 1, potentially 2 good games thrown in there, but as an overall in the month, I think, yeah, just average performances. Nothing to be worried about. If you're at average, I'm like, yeah, there's nothing to worry about in regards to your level of performances. You've been consistent. Maybe I'll change that to average/consistent, you know, just in case people take average to mean a bad thing, because I don't mean it like that. I generally just mean just being super consistent. You've not dropped any stinkers, for example, like a Robbo or Nunes or any one of those kind of players, but you've just been calm. Zobo, I think, has been good. Again, I could have put Zobo in average as well, to be fair. So maybe I might potentially look to change that average to good, but maybe he sneaks in my opinion, because from where he was coming from in the previous month, like I said, I'm gonna, at the end of the season, I'm gonna get up all of the player ratings that I've done for every single month and try and average it out, right? But when you look at it, like, he was coming off of a period, like I said, guys wanted to sell him. People were saying, nah, we got to sell Szoboszlai. He doesn't offer anything. He's dead. He's this, he's that. And then to have the kind of month that I feel like you've had, especially that Tottenham game, yeah, man, I feel like you've been good, man. I feel like you've just, do you know what I mean? Like, just above. But again, I wouldn't be mad if you put him in average/consistent. Trent, I think Trent's been good this month as well. I think Trent's been good both defensively, offensively. I feel like he's been, you know, just solid performer. That West Ham game, I really was impressed with his performance. Gakpo and McAllister, I've gotten very good. Yeah, I think they've been very good. I think for Gakpo as well, getting the GA that he has in this last month, I think good for him. Like I said, just not my style of player, but I can't let the agenda. I really can't let that agenda, you know, kind of, you know, be the overarching kind of thing, you know, in regards to someone like Gakpo, because the reality is, you know, he has played, he's scored the goals, he's got himself the assists, he's helping the team, you know, in these games. So yeah, man, I have to give him the props. McAllister, the same thing. I think this month maybe has been his best month that I can think of. Can't remember all of the other months that we've done the player ratings, but from what I can remember, this is probably been McAllister's best month, in total honesty. So yeah, but been very good. And then obviously the 3 at the top, obviously Arne Slot, obviously, of course, he's going to be up there. As long as Liverpool don't lose, he's going to definitely be up there. And I just think in certain games as well, where you've been so proactive, that's where I've proper rated you. Salah, we saw the goals that he's got. And Virgil van Dijk, I think, has been excellent as well. But like, honestly, you know, we talk about, and obviously, as always, as we know, Rodri, who else? Modric, who else? And that's about it for midfielders that I can remember. Someone let me know of other Ballon d'Or midfielders like who have won it. I can't remember. Yeah, Modric obviously before Rodri, but we know that they mostly give it to attackers. So if Liverpool were to win and Salah does well, blah blah blah, they're going to give it to Salah, right? Or they should give it to Salah, right? But Van Dijk has also been, like, Liverpool, in my opinion, should have at least, if the Ballon d'Or was today, by the way, if it was today, I think Liverpool should have at least 2 players, if I'm thinking world football, at least minimum in the top 5. At least in the top 5 of Ballon d'Or. Kaká, thank you, honestly, Kaká. Dora, I'm going to get to your question in a sec. Yeah, Kaká. Yeah, look how long ago that was, Kaká. That's mad, because obviously Messi, Ronaldo just started sharing it from there. But yeah, I'm literally sitting there thinking, yeah, if I'm thinking world football right now, top 5 has to be at least Van Dijk and Salah in there. I don't care where you place them. I'm not saying Van Dijk should be second or any. I'm just saying that he should definitely be up there in the top 5 in the world. If you're just basing it on this season, and then even Gravenberch should be placed on this list. And you know me, I don't do the one season wonder thing, but because Ballon d'Or is supposed to be based off of just a season, I have to throw Gravenberch in maybe top 10. Yeah, top 10 at least. Gravenberch in there. So you're saying 3 players in the top 10 of the Ballon d'Or. Yeah, 3 players I think Liverpool have at least, if you're just basing it on this season. But I don't know how. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to obviously wait and see. But listen, look, that's my player ratings for the month of December for Liverpool. And just before we head out, as I said, I'll show you guys my Premier League team of the season. Let me get it. There we go. There you go. So at least you guys should be able to see that. Let me get to your question, honesty. Question: let's say we kill it and win the league by March, April. Do you think Arnold will be more relaxed, or he's still focused on the results? I think he's still focused on the results, bro. Bro, we know what he's like, man. We know what he's on. Do you get what I mean? Like, we know what this guy is all about. He's all about the results. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And that's good, by the way. That's not a bad thing. Like, I want him to be that focused on results. I want him to, do you know what I mean? You're always thinking like, yo, how can we do this better? Obviously, I think he'll be a bit more relaxed, but yeah, I still feel like he's not going to allow for the team to drop off. He might, yes, Endo might start playing more and Trey might come in if the league was won, let's just say by April. If we know April 1st, Liverpool already won the league, then yes, obviously I think in terms of players, but in terms of performances, nah, he ain't trying to drop off at all. So yeah, this is my Premier League team of the season. In goal, I've gone for Sells of Nottingham Forest. He's got the most clean sheets in the Premier League so far, goalkeeper-wise, by the way. So yeah, I had to put him in there. And I think Nottingham Forest, for me, do deserve to have quite a few nominees because they have been excellent defensively. If I'm looking at it now, let me get the table up. Liverpool have conceded 17 goals. So it goes Arsenal first with 16 goals conceded, Liverpool second with 17 goals, and then Nottingham Forest have only conceded 19 goals this season. Their only problem, I say problem, but their only thing is they've scored only 26. That's where if they can get a few more, like if they can score more goals, which listen, doesn't matter because they're the most informed team. Yep, they're the most informed team in the Premier League right now. 5 games, 5 victories. Second is Liverpool and Arsenal. Both have played 5, won 3, drawn 2. That's crazy. I mean, Jesus Christ, they've beaten, obviously, United. They beat Villa. They beat Brentford. They beat Tottenham. They beat Everton. Yo, Forest are on smoke recently. Yeah. Nuno might win the play. He might actually win Manager of the Month. You know, I can't even lie. But yeah, listen, look, I've got Sells in there in goal. Right back, I think it's been Aina. I think Aina's been excellent this season. Like, really, really like his performances. Play left back as well, which I proper like because he plays both positions as if that's his natural position. But yeah, this season for Nottingham Forest, I think he's been really, really good. Milenkovic, I think he's been top this season from what I've seen anyway. I've not seen too many games, maybe like 3 games that I've watched in totality, the whole 90 minutes of Nottingham Forest, one of them obviously being against us. But the other 2 games I thought he was really, really good. And from what I've seen, yeah, he just looks like a solid player, man. Solid player. Like, I don't know. I wonder how much he would cost to get him into the team. But listen, if they get Champions League next season and finish runners up to Liverpool, I don't think they're going to be selling him anytime soon, or they're definitely slapping him with a £70 million transfer value, boy. Obviously Van Dijk. I don't think anything needs to be said about him. And I've got Robinson as the left back. I think he's been really, really good. Got quite a few assists as well this season. And I felt like defensively he's been good as well. In that Liverpool game, I thought he was pretty decent. I know people say with the Salah thing, but I felt overall he had a pretty decent game. But in general, I think he's been really good and really helped Fulham, you know, this season. I've gone 4-2-3-1 midfield pivot. I think these two have been the best midfielders in the Premier League this season, and that's Caicedo and Gravenberch. I think between the two, you could pick either one. To like, depending on, they both do different jobs. But you see, this is why Liverpool should have signed Caicedo, to be honest with you, because I really think if Liverpool had a Caicedo in there next to a Gravenberch, in my personal opinion, it's a better midfield. In my personal, it's more balanced. In my personal opinion, I think it'd be so much more balanced. Yeah, that's just my opinion. Whether you take out, I don't really care. Szoboszlai, McAllister, Jones, they would just have to fight it out for that last slot. But yeah, he's those two have been immense, you know, for me this season. And then obviously the attack. Up front, I've gone with Wood. I could have gone with Isak, but Isak's only been in the last month to two, whereas I feel like Wood has been consistent throughout the season for Nottingham Forest. Rodgers as well, yeah. He 100%. That's what I'm saying. Like, I saw Rodgers in a few, and I was like, yeah, you could put him in there. I just didn't know where to really put him in. And I don't think he's outperformed a Gravenberch or a Caicedo or a Palmer for that matter. So I was like, he probably could miss out. But listen, I'm not going to be mad if anyone put him in there. But yeah, that's why I've gone for Chris Wood. Obviously, right wing, we already know that's nothing to talk about. Palmer, I think he deserves to be in there regardless. I think he's been really good for Chelsea this season. Dropped off a little in the last few games, but overall, he's been really, really good. And Cunha, had to put Cunha in there. I know I've got him on the left, but it didn't really matter. I think Cunha has been really good for Wolves, and I know a lot of Liverpool fans would like to sign him. I'm still undecided on whether I want to sign him, but he's been good this season for Wolves. So I can see why people say that. I mean, I'd rather you just go out and get Isak. I don't really care about the injuries. I'll just take the chance. I'll be so honest. Like, he's a better striker than Jota. So at least I kind of know, okay, cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I'm getting a better striker than Jota, if I can just keep him a bit more fit, do you know what I mean? Then I'm good to go. But listen, it is what it is. He is a decent player. I'm not going to call he's not rubbish or anything like that. So I can understand why Liverpool fans, you know, would want to sign him. But yeah, for Wolves, he has been obviously excellent. Those are the goals, obviously, that these guys have scored, or the attack anyway, in the Premier League. So Salah with 17, Palmer with 12, got more goals than Wood, who's got 11, and then Matheus Cunha with 10. Those are good numbers for Premier League, you know, I can't lie. Obviously, if they're all in the same team, it probably wouldn't be like that. But it's pretty good numbers, man. Pretty good numbers. Obviously, Mo out there on his own. But yeah, that's my team. So obviously, if you're watching this on a replay, make sure you let me know, you know, what your 11 would be. Like I said, I have seen a few. Like I said, there was only really one standout one where I was like, I don't know about all of that. But other than that, I feel like the rest of them have actually been, you know, relatively calm anyway. So yeah, nothing to really worry about. But guys, that is the end of the stream. As I said, listen, look, big up to everybody for 2024. Much love and appreciation for all those who have obviously subscribed to the channel. And again, man, it's just more about the like, I know I keep saying it, but like, listen, man, you guys, it's 10 a.m. that we start these streams more often than not. The fact that you guys are rocking with me so early in the morning, listen, man, like, I proper appreciate that. Like, that I know there's other things you guys could be doing, probably should be doing in terms of work and stuff, but you're always, you know, majority of you are always here every single morning that I do go live. So yeah, that's big for me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm hoping that 2025 that we can have like a really, really good year, successful year in anything that we're trying to get our hands onto and stuff like that. And if anybody, you know, who's thinking about starting YouTube, bro, drop me a message, man. Like, it doesn't matter if you've only got one viewer or whether you've got 10 viewers, 1,000. It really doesn't matter. There's no difference from one viewer to 100,000. There really isn't, because the reality is, if there is a difference, that shows that, you know, you're not really doing this for the right reasons, in my personal opinion. Do you know what I mean? When I only had like 10 people viewing the video, it's 10 people viewing the video. It still takes a lot of courage to come on and you know what I mean, speak, especially when you're speaking about football. It's difficult. Did you know what I mean? Like, I might get slated for a week straight from people in the chat or from, you know, on DMs on Twitter and stuff like that, just for an opinion that I had about football, just because I want to talk about it. We've all seen it. You know, it happens to a lot of people, man. So yeah, man, big up to everybody every single time. Literally, man. Big up Double N in the building. Big up Honesty. Again, honesty every single time, man. And yeah, happy new year to everybody. Happy new year. Please do not get too drunk this evening, people. Make sure you guys are nice and sober. I will be back tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be live, but I will be definitely dropping a video tomorrow, doing my like top 4. Yeah, doing my top 4 title chances. So Nottingham Forest will now be the new team who have entered in there. So yeah, man, we'll wrap it up there, and we'll take it from there, man. We'll take it from there. And yeah, honestly, you're right. Could only be 10 people. Right now, there's what, just over 9 of you in here. I never care. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, I don't care, man. I'd rather we just chop it up and we have a conversation. Do you get what I'm trying to say, man? So like I said, for anybody who wants to start YouTube or whatever, just do it. 2025 is the year that you just do it. We just go full Nike on everybody. Just do it. Don't think about it. Like, don't be shook. Don't worry about your camera. Don't worry about the setup. All of this stuff will come in time. You just get your phone, record yourself, speak, get used to it. And I promise you, in 2 months, you'll see a difference. You'll see a difference, because then you'll start to realize, forget even the thumbnails. Don't worry about them. Go on Canva, guys. Canva is my best friend. Go on Canva to go and do your thumbnails if you really want to do that. You don't need to pay someone to do it. You don't need to do all of that. Do you know what I mean? That's when you're, you know what I mean? Like, you're the Hussam level. Do you know what I mean? Like, Hussam will go and do that. But that's because Hussam has a bigger audience and he wants to make sure that everything is, you know, perfect and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. But when you're, you know what I mean? When you're just starting out, you ain't got to worry about all of that, man. You really don't. So I want anyone who's thinking about it to just go and do it, man. But if anything, drop me a message. But guys, I've rambled on for too long. Happy New Year to you all. Enjoy your evening, and I'll catch you guys later on this week. Peace.